Senior Vice President of FNCCI, Mr. Shekhar Golcha, past secretaries of Nepal government and senior government officials, senior officials from the Embassy of India, former ambassadors of Nepal to India, presidents of commodity associations and binational chambers, past presidents and friends of NICI, FNCCI, CNI and NCC. I also see Mr. Arun Chaudhary, our past president there. Welcome, sir. Distinguished guests, members of NICI, my colleagues from the Executive Committee, friends from media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you to the inauguration of the 25th Annual General Meeting of NICI. At the outset, I'm afraid to have to start with some sad news. As you are aware, this year witnessed the demise of our founder president, Mr. Prabhakar Samse Jangabahadur Rana. He was an iconic figure, not only in the business community, but also in the landscape of being a true ambassador for Nepal worldwide. As a mark of respect and gratitude to his services, both to NICI and to Nepal in general, may I request you to kindly observe a minute's silence on this behalf, please. Second, there's a recognition of the National Food and Feed Reference Laboratory, which upon accreditation for analysis and acceptance of its certificates for 21 agro-based products. This is a step forward in the long pending quarantine issue, and we hope that this will carry on forward and be resolved in the very near future. In June, the rail service agreement was renewed for 5 years, and a host of fruitful achievements have been made in principle which would ease cargo movements. Under NICI's initiative, and with the full support of FNCCI, CNI, NCC, NFTA, NEEFA, and experts, I see Mr. Ojaz also there. Thank you, sir, for your help as well. We propose a futuristic integrated transit treaty and rail service agreement known as Traffic in Transit for Transshipment, which was proffered to the Ministry of Commerce. We hope this initiative will be carried forward by the Ministry of Commerce in the days to come. We are also waiting for further news on the progress of the pre-feasibility study of the Birganj-Kathmandu rail project, and I'm sure, Ambassador, we'll also be hearing from you about the forward movement in the waterways as well. There has been very substantial progress in the hydropower space. The Joint Steering Committee meeting in October in Bangalore in the areas of cross-border transmission lines, power trade and energy banking gives us hope for a significant impetus forward. The progress of the Arun 3 development and the recent news regarding the probable PPA between Upper Karnali project and the government of Bangladesh is particularly heartening. In the recently concluded Power Summit organized by IPAN, we witnessed a number of agreements between Indian and Nepalese entities. Similarly, we foresee great progress in the Butpul-Gorakhpur transmission line. There continue and will continue to be glitches, but a firm can-do resolve from both countries is a necessity. In NICI, we have always propounded that the development of hydropower is the single most important sector to address the current glaring trade imbalance between our two countries. I end this short topic on hydropower with my usual plea, which I've been pleading for the last 4 years, and which both countries have been pleading for the last 26 years, for a positive move forward on the game-changing Pancheshwar project. I cannot end without a request for India's help to make Visit Nepal 2020 a success, and hoping for future airways access to Indian cities from our regional airports, although I am led to believe a lot of the problem lies, unfortunately, at our doorstep and not at India's. Honourable Minister, despite our earnest endeavours to attract FDI and introduction of new enabling acts, FDI remains fairly dismal. both in terms of commitments and actual implementation. While Indian commitments are the highest from all countries after a 3-year hiatus, the total commitment is a low 5.6 billion rupees. On substantial interaction amongst Indian and other country joint ventures, a few critical areas which require your help and intervention on improving the FD climate, I'd like to take those on. And I have just 7 points on which to talk about, Your Excellency. On the investment issues, the new Foreign Investment and Technology Transfer Act requires multiple approvals for repatriation of dividend and technology transfer fields. These include things like royalty and consultancy. This approval is required from DOI and NRB. This should be limited to one window approval as in the past. Obtaining approval for repatriating has become more difficult subsequent to the enactment of FITA. Further, since FITA rules, which had to be issued immediately after enactment of the new Act, have not been issued till date. Many aspects relating to investments approvals are yet to be clarified, so we request rules be issued at the earliest by addressing this area, sir. Second, it's about remittance of payment above rupees 1 lakh INR and above 10,000 US dollars. This is towards import of services from parties abroad, which used to be approved by NRB in the past and is now being subject to approval of both DOI and NRB. This is leading to significant delays in payment to parties abroad who provide critical service to industries in Nepal. Subjecting such routine transaction in ordinary course of business to multiple approvals has severely impacted the industries operating in Nepal. Third point, the limitation on contract manufacturing of main product of an industry due to provisions of FITA and the new Industrial Enterprises Act, which the Gazette, I believe, has still not been published, yet it has been approved by both the houses. This will block non-equity modes of investment, which is one of the most preferred routes of foreign investment, particularly in the manufacturing sector, sir. While countries like India, which earlier allowed limited FDI in contract manufacturing, has recently opened up the sector of 100% FDI. Nepal, which allowed it till recently, has blocked this mode of investment, both for foreign as well as domestic investment. On the taxation issues, sir, which is again all-encompassing, is the issue of the set-off of losses of one business with the profits of another business within the same company. This is being disallowed by the tax authorities. This is not only against the principle of income tax law that a person is liable to pay income tax on its net income, but also adversely impacts the diversification efforts by companies operating in Nepal. The government should address this issue to encourage investments in new sectors by the existing companies. The fifth is the provision on a tax holiday for large hotels. The Income Tax Act provides a 100% tax holiday for the first 5 years and 50% for the next 3 years for hotels meeting certain criteria. Tax authorities insist that it is mandatory to avail of the tax holiday, and Income Tax Act provides that a person who is entitled to a 100% tax concession is not allowed to carry forward its losses for set-off against future profits. Since large hotels make loss during the first 4 or 5 years, the tax holiday does not help. In fact, availing of the tax holiday does not allow the company to carry forward its losses, which will cause increased tax burden to the company after initial years of operation. The tax holiday should be allowed to be availed by the company for a period of any continuous 8 years within a block of the first 15 years of operation at the option of the taxpayer if possible. If this cannot be done, industry should be given an option to either avail the tax holiday or carry forward its losses if possible, sir. Number 6 was the social security tax at 1%, which is being levied on the lowest slab of income, is being continued despite the requirement under the contribution-based social security tax to deposit 31% of basic salary, which includes this 1%. This should be clarified at the earliest. The last point on this is provision to make a pre-deposit for appeal in tax cases causes burden to taxpayers to pursue the legal recourse in tax-related issues. While the issue has been partially addressed during last year's budget by decreasing the pre-deposit amount from a third to a quarter, it is recommended that an option of providing a bank guarantee covering a quarter of the disputed amount be introduced to reduce the burden of cash flow to taxpayers without compromising the government's interests, sir. The third point, which is, sir, not really related to the Finance Ministry, but it is on intellectual property rights. And this is not really from Indian companies, this is across multinationals, sir. Certain local players in Nepal register and or put to use popular trademarks of global companies to take advantage of the goodwill accrued to such marks. However, since the concept of well-known trademark is not recognized in the Patent, Design and Trademark Act of Nepal, foreign companies cannot initiate action against local players in Nepal basis transport of goodwill and reputation of such widely recognized marks unless they are actually registered in Nepal. This is preventing many companies from manufacturing and selling their products in Nepal. Further, legal protection to intellectual property is an essential prerequisite to attract FDI in the country. Therefore, it is urged that the law and regulation in this area needs to be strengthened to address this serious issue. And this has been going on, Minister, for the last 10 years, and we still have not seen any progress. I know it's not encompassing within your area, but we would like you to kindly take this up if possible, sir. In ending, sir, I'd like to once again thank you, Honourable Minister, for giving up your valuable time. I'd also like to thank you for always being punctual. That is always appreciated by us in the business fraternity. I'd also particularly like to thank His Excellency, the Indian Ambassador, for gracing us on this occasion, sir. I think this will, unfortunately for us, be your last year in where you'll be gracing Nikki, and we thank you for all your support and all the endeavours that you have done. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, friends from the media, thank you very much for being with us, and I hope you'll stay on later.